Have you ever wondered what the heck people are talking about when they use terms like large language models or generative AI? Or are you thinking that this is just about just ChatGPT and have no idea what all the other AI systems are that are out there? Well, let me tell you that you're not alone. And in this episode of Wiser, I'm going to make sense of what we mean by large language models and give you a taste of a safer alternative to ChatGPT. My name is Rick Huckstep, and welcome to Wiser. Okay, first up, I'm going to explain in simple terms what we mean by large language models and generative AI. But first, I'm going to take a step back. Now, for decades, artificial intelligence has been used to perform specific functions like self-driving a Tesla or auto-processing insurance claims. These single-purpose AIs sat quietly behind the scenes, just doing their thing, with little awareness from the likes of you and I that they even existed. Then last November, the world changed and along came ChatGPT. And with it came a new generation of artificial intelligence that had arrived, and we call it generative AI. This is a new, different and disruptive form of artificial intelligence from what we'd seen before. And it is different to the AI that went before for two fundamental reasons. First, it's a more general multi-purpose form of AI. And second, anyone can use it, however they want, for whatever they want. You don't have to be a computer programmer to use generative AI. You just need a computer or a mobile phone, and away you go. Now, known as generative AI, this new breed of artificial intelligence is all about the power of words. Even if it's a picture, generative AI turns the picture into words. And the superpower of generative AI is that its use of language is on a par with human levels of communication, which is not to be confused with human levels of comprehension and understanding. Now, quite simply, generative AI is a statistical prediction machine. It's also known as a large language model because that's exactly what it is. Every LLM has read millions, billions, trillions sometimes of pieces of human writing from across the internet, and broken every sentence and every word down into their smallest units or fractions of words. For example, football becomes foot and ball. These units are called tokens. The AI then creates a massive multi-dimensional map of the way that words are combined to form many different meanings. Think of how many ways you can use the words foot and ball in a different context. But there's more to generative AI than just building a mega spreadsheet of word combinations. What unlocked their abilities to write as fluently as they do today is a revolutionary AI tool that's called the transformer. This is the T in GPT or ChatGPT. Now, the transformer model was first published by a group of 8 AI researchers at Google in June 2017, only 6 years ago. Before Transformer, AI development focused on trying to replicate the way the human brain works through neural networks. But the Transformer model changed everything. And here's the thing. Google's 11-page research paper in 2017 marked the start of this generative AI era. Without it, there would be no ChatGPT. Transformers are the ability of an AI system to process an entire sequence of words, analyzing all its parts, breaking it down, and understanding the meaning of the words. By that I mean that the transformer is able to work out which parts of a sentence or article or novel are the most important in defining the meaning of that piece of it. Now, a key concept of the transformer model is called self-attention. This is what allows large language models to understand the relationships between words. Self-attention looks at each word or token or unit of word, whatever you want to call it, in a body of text, and it decides how that word or that unit of word relates to every other piece in that sentence, and therefore decides which are the most important to understand the meaning of the sentence. Now, I asked Anthropic's Claude to explain how this works. Claude is an alternative to ChatGPT. And I gave it a simple example, a well-known phrase called, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog." Now, Claude wrote, and these are the AI's words, not mine. This sentence would first be broken down into individual tokens or words. So the model would see the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Okay? The model then uses self-attention to understand how these words relate to each other. It creates numerical vectors for each word and maps their relationship based on context clues. So it would map that fox and jumps go together, as do dog and lazy. Now, with this vector map of word relationships, the model can then start generating new sentences based on its understanding. I then ask Claude to write a new sentence based on this example. Claude wrote, and this is the AI's words again, "Here is a new sentence generated using the same example. The speedy silver fox bounded across the dozing hound." The model used its vector map created from the first sentence to understand relationships between words like fox and verbs, as well as animals and descriptors. It was able to mix and match words contextually and correctly to form a new plausible sentence by drawing on its understanding of how certain words and concepts are likely to be used together. This demonstrates how large language models are able to take simple word associations and build up a complex internal representation of language. Now, those two pieces of highlighted text were written by the chatbot Claude with no editing from me. They came from the AI. So I ask you, can you spot the difference between the script that I wrote and the explanation that Claude wrote? Now, that's what a large language model is, but what about alternatives to ChatGPT? Because OpenAI were not the only ones building large language models. Now, there are many alternatives to ChatGPT, and a leading alternative is Claude, which is the one I've just used. That is produced from an AI startup called Anthropic. Claude does much the same thing as ChatGPT, but it is also different, and it has some differences. Primarily, it's positioned to offer a safer, more responsible alternative to other AI models like ChatGPT. Now, Anthropic was founded in 2021 by a brother and a sister called Dario and Daniela Amodi. They were both senior employees at OpenAI, but they made no secret of their concerns about the direction of travel for OpenAI's research and eventually left to create a more responsible AI platform, which they called Claude. Claude is a versatile AI model capable of various tasks, including writing, answering questions, and collaboration. Claude outperforms most other AIs on standardized tests. If you use Notion AI, Quora's Poe, or DuckDuckGo's search engine, then you're already using Claude because this is the AI between these services, which, by the way, I use all three of them every day. One of the key differentiators of Claude is its focus on safety. Anthropic has implemented safety guardrails to address issues of bias, inaccuracy, and unethical behavior. This is achieved by what they call their constitutional AI system. It's an AI model built on a set of principles and values that discourages toxic or biased responses. Claude self-learns right from wrong by testing itself against these principles in the Constitution, much like a human does when they develop their own moral compass. This is different to the traditional approach of using human moderators to manually mark and correct bad content in AI models. Now, apart from safety, Claude offers several other advantages to ChatGPT. The biggest feature difference is that it can handle up to 100,000 tokens per prompt, equivalent to around 75,000 words or the length of the Great Gatsby novel. Now, what this means in real terms is that you can give Claude 10 times more information to process in a single go, making it capable of managing complex multi-step instructions and handle large amounts of data, which ChatGPT can't do. If you was going to use ChatGPT, and particularly the free version, which is called 3.5, you would have to break it down into multiple steps to achieve the same end. Okay, if you're now thinking, well, how do I get my hands on Claude? There's a couple of ways to do it. First, you could go to Anthropic's homepage and just hit the Talk to Claude button. Next, you could use one of the services that are powered by Claude, like Notion AI or DuckDuckGo. Third, and this is my recommendation to you, is to head over to a site called Poe.com. Poe is a hub for many chatbots and generative AIs. It's not just about Claude or ChatGPT. There's literally dozens of different AI systems, and you can access, including multiple versions of Claude. They're all slightly different depending on what you want to use them for, but with Poe you can try them all using the same prompt to see how the answers differ. Poe.com is the best place to try out all of the Claudes and all of the other generative AI systems, including the image generation and recognition ones, not just words. It's free to sign up, by the way, and you will find dozens and dozens of different AI models to play around with and keep you occupied all day long. Now let's shift our focus to the news stories in the world of AI. But before I go through the top stories, I want to plug my newsletter called Wiser. For all new subscribers, you get a copy of my book, The Beginner's Guide to ChatGPT, absolutely free. And it's a fair trade, right? Your email address in return for this action-packed bumper book on ChatGPT. Plus, every week you get Wiser alongside 15,000 subscribers who are all interested in how they can supercharge their career with AI. The first story this week in terms of the news is about Midjourney. Now, if you're not familiar with Midjourney, it's probably because it's bloody difficult to use. As a generative AI platform that turns words into pictures, it is by far the best. And whilst all the other text-to-image generators are getting better, Midjourney remains number one, in my humble opinion. But the barrier to using this AI is that it runs as a Discord server using a command language. Now, what the fuck does that mean, Rick? Well, it's just too hard to explain in a simple episode. I'll have to do it as a full feature in another one. All I would say is that it took me the best part of an entire Sunday to figure it out and start producing images, which were great, by the way. But now, thank goodness, the independent research team that run Midjourney have built a website that is much more user-friendly. It's still running on Discord in the background, but you can kind of be hidden by that. Now, Midjourney is not free to use, and it costs you about $8 a month for a basic plan, rising to, I think, $60 a month for the all-you-can-eat fast food option. Anyway, the link is in the show notes, and you can see some of the great artwork that others have produced on the community page. Now, on the question of AI safety, there continues to be a lot of positioning to be the global leader for setting the standards and the pace of regulatory controls. In the UK, the PM, Rishi Sunak, has expressed concerns about the risks of AI, such as the misuse in weaponry and criminal activities. To address these concerns, Sunak has announced plans to lead global discussions on AI safety and announced the creation of an AI Safety Institute and proposed a global expert panel on AI science. Meanwhile, over in the US, President Joe Biden is to announce a sweeping executive order on AI this week, probably tomorrow, in an effort to place controls on this fast-moving sector. Now, these are well-intentioned and necessary, but as with all tech regs, this horse has already bolted, and all this is likely to do is just generate a lot of hot air. Now, meanwhile, on the commercial side, ChatGPT's founder, OpenAI, has formed a new, what they call preparedness team to address potential catastrophic risks associated with advanced AI models, including nuclear, chemical, and biological warfare. I hope you're spotting a theme here, and it's scary stuff. Now, this team will track and guard against these dangers in ChatGPT, and they're seeking ideas for risk studies, and they offer a prize of $25,000 and a position within the team for the top 10 entries. Now, I have to say, Sam Altman, as a company that's just been valued at $80 billion, offering $25,000 for ideas on how to stop artificial intelligence leading us into a biological warfare seems a little measly to me, given the nature of these risks. And I can't help but think that this is a bit lip service from the great man. We'll just have to wait and see. And just to illustrate, that the risks are genuine, in the United States, there is an AI company called Scale, who in May became the first outfit to have a large language model deployed as a classified network in the US Army. In the US Army's 18th Airborne Corps, Scale's chatbot, which happens to be known as Donovan for some reason, summarizes intelligence and helps commanders make decisions faster. That's according to a report in the Washington Post. Link is in the show notes. The other story that caught my eye this week is about Amazon and their testing of humanoid robots. Now, the thing with these robots is that they've been given the nickname of digits because they have arms and legs complete with hand-like manipulators. This comes on top of a decade of robotization for Amazon, who have, at last count, over 750,000 robots in their warehousing systems. Now, these new humanoid robots are designed to mimic the way that humans work in a warehouse, allowing them to navigate and interact with their surroundings in a way that is familiar to humans. They typically stand at an average height, have humanoid body structure, and their heads are equipped with sensors and a camera to aid in perception and knowing where the hell they are. For more on that story, check out the show notes because I've written a much longer article, which you'll find on Medium. In other news, Forbes has introduced a generative AI search platform called Adelaide. This verticalized AI will provide personalized searches and summarize answers from Forbes' extensive catalog of writing and news coverage. Meanwhile, Gramerly has added an AI feature that learns a writer's voice. The purpose is to assist writers when they use Grammarly. However, there's a concern that employers in particular could continue using a writer's unique style without their consent or after they've left their employment. Canva, which I use all the time, has introduced a comprehensive set of AI tools for teachers and students. And if you want to know a little bit more about the future of AI in education, have a listen to the recent episode of Big Tech, Little Tech, where Sean and I discussed how AI is going to change the way we teach kids. So my AI tool of the week comes from DataGPT. They are a Californian-based startup who have unveiled their AI Analyst, a conversational chatbot for businesses to gain actionable insights from their data. In a nutshell, DataGPT is like having your very own data analyst, a geek who will pore over spreadsheets and charts to look for any kind of insights from inside your numbers. This is looking for the wood amongst the trees and is essential to any business. Bottom line, DataGPT enables businesses to understand the what and the why behind the data, and it is a viable alternative to ChatGPT's code interpreter. I'm going to be testing it out this week, and I'll report back in the next couple of weeks' time. And one more thing. This is great reading. The State of AI report from Air Street Capital is packed with data, insights, and analysis. But be warned, it's a detailed report. My advice, brew a big pot of fresh coffee, grab a plate of digestives, because you're in for a detailed breakdown of what's going on in generative AI. Don't expect any sound bites or oversimplified 280-character breakdowns. This is heavy reading, but well worth it. A link to the report is in the show notes. That's all for today's episode of Wiser. Remember to check out the show notes, get yourself your free beginner's guide to ChatGPT, and hit the like button to let me know that you enjoyed the show. Thanks for listening. See you next week for Wiser in AI, your guide to supercharge your career with artificial intelligence. Stay safe.